This isn't even their final form.
And we won't see that probably ever again. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's awesome to see.
No matter what, we're gonna be rich.
Yeah, okay. I see that.
That is certainly interesting.
Wait, what now?
Oh,
my
equal.
God. Well then.
Oh my god.
They came in the right order too.
Good. 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 Good.
Oh yeah. Wait, what now? Oh yeah. What is up, fam, and welcome to another beautiful episode of Tavern Talk, THL's first and only official recap show. I'm your host, Jack Sox. I got some fun people here with me tonight. On tap tonight, I'm sure we're going to have some ridiculous chat going on. Didn't have time to put together a proper guest, although I would like to tell folks that the guest segment is something that we would really like to bring back this week. I've touched base with a few folks as to coming and appearing, even if just for a little bit on the show. So if that's something that interests you, let us know. Our rules for the evening, we're going back to the fields, whatever, man. Whenever we talk about subs and how free agents can become part of a team, whenever I whine because I've lost 7 ranks in 5 days or something to that effect, I forgot the math. I suck at Hearthstone. And whenever Mange gives his, you gotta listen for it because it's sometimes easy to miss. Up there in the top left, sitting inside that beautiful D. And by the way, I found out that that is an actual picture of D. Lyman himself. We have D. Lyman. How are you, sir?
Yeah, what up?
You know, Tavern Talk. That's what's up, yo.
That is not an actual picture. That's a cartoon.
Well, no, but it's based off the actual picture. I finally saw it. He shared it. I know where that's from now.
You never seen Lyman? That looks like him.
No, it does not.
Yeah, Jack Sox literally was like, that picture looks nothing like you. I was like, the fuck you mean?
Yes,
And then-
it does. It looks exactly like him.
You have to look at his recent pictures. The one that this was based off of was from a while ago. It was
It was
not his
literally
mistake.
from me being Saban. He's looking at pictures of me with a full beard and saying that this picture does not look like me at all.
You know, damn it. Anyways, manning the potato farm down there is the baddest of hombres, Mange. Mange, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How about you?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. So in efforts of transparency and full disclosure, I have to tell folks I'm drinking water tonight. I have a very sad announcement for fans of Tavern Talk. Season 5 is going to feature sober Jack Sox. Jack Sox is trying to stop being a fat ass and start being a healthier individual in life. And that means no alcohol for a little bit. And it's sad times, but you know, we move on and we prosper and we persevere through these tough times.
I can't wait for the last episode of Tavern Talk where Jack Sox tells us that he gained about 20 pounds.
Well, I'm down 5 already, man. I'm down 5 already. So just gotta keep it up, and we'll see where it leads. I'm looking at the THL page, and I don't see the stream live. Is it because I need to refresh?
It's live.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. All right, well, fuck it. I guess we're supposed to do shit on this show, right? We're supposed to talk about THL and the week that was, the week that is, and some Q&A shit. I actually have to say I'm really hyped to get to the Q&A section because we had some great ones this week. Thanks, guys, for actually giving us real Q&As. Although, Brunson, I would have answered the food question had you asked it. But you didn't ask it this week, man, so it is what it is. So, week 2 was a messy week. Starting off with Tavern Talk, me not being here. For all those who showed concern and such, all is well now. I greatly appreciate everybody that reached out. We are all alive, safe, and relatively healthy. So thank you for all the shout-outs and PMs and everybody just getting in touch. And to everybody that made Tavern Talk happen last week, thank you. But then we went to week 2, man. And week 2 was kind of a mess. Lots of DQs. Happening kind of around the board for various different reasons, and it had a major impact. So we're going to get into some of those matchups and talk about places where DQs actually decided the match in several instances. Let's kick it off, though, with Defias Brotherhood taking on NWA. These are two really strong teams as far as their legacy in THL go. They're two teams that we're really waiting to learn more about this season. But we do have things starting off with Old Greg getting a 3-0 victory over vet Tony Montana. And I think Tony Montana has really solidified himself as a force to be reckoned with in this league. But, Mage, you guys know Old Greg for HOTS, WoW, a few different places, right?
Yeah, WoW mostly. He used to like raid and stuff with us, and he was really close with Parker when they were both like getting really serious into Hearthstone. So yeah, he's a good guy, great player.
What do you think this does? Because week one wasn't exactly the best for Old Greg, if I remember correctly. Actually, he did very well going to game 5. I'm speaking out my ass here, folks, against Shady. But he comes in and he gets a big statement win, 3 over Tony Montana. How do you think that shapes or changes any opinions we had on Defias? Or is this just kind of us seeing him be the player that we expected him to be when we heard the pickup?
Yeah, I don't think it matters too much. Like obviously, it's nice for him to sweep someone who's had success like Tony Montana has had. You know, I mean, he has been known in the Hearthstone scene for a long time as a really good player, and I think that he's going to be a really good player for Defias. So it's just kind of like, okay, this is what we expect.
Yeah, it's getting what was advertised is starting to show. D Lyman, something else I found to be interesting is this climb that Aroy has made from being a 4-5 seed in this league to now holding the 2 spot on his team. He was a 1 for a week last season, but he comes up against Salt, who, you know, as much as we shit on Salt in this league, I believe it was Cassie, perhaps I was saying it last week. I might be attributing this to the wrong person about how one thing you could rely on Salt for is playing meta decks and piloting them with relatively minimal errors.
You son of a bitch. I said this 2 weeks ago.
So I told you I was probably attributing it to the wrong person. It was D Lyman that said this. D
But yeah, I
Lyman.
mean, Everyone's coming for his MVP award. I mean, that's it. He's coming for it. He didn't get it last season. He was undefeated last season in the regular season. He's coming for it.
So you think
And
that this is kind of I mean, beating somebody like Salt, you think this is the A-Roy we're going to see this season?
this is Aroy. This is the new Aroy. This is Aroy now. He's a winner, and he's coming out to take names. And what's good to note is that as long as he wins, there's not going to be much movement up there in the 1 and 2 spot for the Defias Brotherhood seeds. So the quality of his competition isn't going to face a drastic shift like it did last season.
Right. So it's not going to be suddenly jumping in and playing Slimsh, and
Right.
you know, one of the highest, not one of, sorry, the highest hidden PR in the league. Aroy, you got a vote of confidence from D Lyman, and I think that Mange and I would echo those opinions. Mange, I know you guys talked about this a little bit. I believe in the power rankings. There's so many content areas out there now. It could have been while I was listening. Sorry, the last week is really a blur for me. But you're talking about Jesus C's 0-2 start this season, and some facts that you might have attributed that to. You know Jesus on a personal level. We all kind of know him from Discord. Do you think this is phasing him, or do you think he's going to let his inner winner come out here and turn the season around?
Well, he's definitely pissed off. I think he's going to be okay. Ultimately, it's a combination of adjusting to a new team environment who does not know Jesus as well as his previous team did, and you know how he prepares, how he plays, etc. And it's also this is one of the most unfriendly metas that we've had for lower seed players since I've been playing the game, where many of the top decks in the meta right now are like slower decks with multiple decision trees, where Jesus is kind of famous for just playing shit that's green and hitting the face. So, it's you know it's a couple of different things that definitely contributed to his slow start, but I think he's going to be fine. He's really fucking good, and he's going to be just fine.
You gotta think with a guy like Jesus that this is fuel for him, and he's, as I was saying before, he's a guy that likes to win. So I would like to see him as a fan of Jesus turning around, and I think that's probably the direction he'll head in. Next up on the week 2 results, we had a really close one, 1 point difference being decided by a DQ between Avatar versus the Og Champs. If you look at the scoreboard, you might be like, "Well, Jack's actually a dumbass. It's 16-12." You have to remember that's with the +3 victory bonus that comes from your team winning the overall matchup. Um, but just a quick PSA on this, guys. For whatever reason, ATQs are happening Thursday night tonight. In about an hour and 45 minutes is the deadline to submit classes. If you have not yet emailed your opponent with a specific time, please do that tonight before Tavern Talk is done. If you haven't already, it's better to get those things done early in the week so that DQs don't happen for whatever reason. But in this case, it cost the team the matchup. We saw Arcane's 3-1 over Lemur on Salty Saturday. Um, I don't know. What'd you guys think of it? Did you? I was watching it. Lemur popped into Discord afterwards. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that matchup and how it went down on Salty Saturday?
You're assuming I watched it.
Rip.
I watched it, and frankly, Lemur played decks that he's not good at, and Arcane beat his ass.
Yeah, the good news for Lemur in that is that he literally only had to win one round, which he was capable of doing. But Arcane almost got the sweep that his team needed for the victory there. And the PSA there, folks, is don't play Rogue if you don't have any fucking clue how to play Rogue. I should probably listen to that myself, but I brought it this week, so rip me.
Bible thump.
Bible thump. I guess that could technically count as Jack Sox whining, because I don't know how to play fucking decks, and if not, I definitely just did whine. So Synergy is a team that I was pretty hyped on preseason. I think I had them a little higher than anybody else, and by a little I mean a lot higher than anybody else in the preseason. I thought that they fixed the bottom half of their lineup being one of the primary areas of concern, and then they only put up 5 points this week. I don't know, guys. I look at Katoda. I look at Katoda playing there. I look at Zab, who's had semi-success in the league, and I'm just kind of wondering what's going on over there at Synergy, and where is Katoda?
Well, Katoda took a lot of time off, didn't he?
He did.
I actually don't know that, and that's good information to be aware of. So
He took time away from THL, which is way different than playing just regular ladder and even opens. Like it's a different experience. So
Yeah, he took time off and then comes back in, completely new meta.
Yep.
Besides that, like you're looking at relative newcomers in Synergy compared to relative veterans in Danger Zone. Like Tranador going up against Jing Buddha. Yeah, Brantley 00 going up against Grim. I know Grim left and came back, but Grim was a good 5 seed before he left.
yeah,
So it's not too much of a surprise if you look at each matchup individually. It's just a bit surprising at the way that the dice rolled is that they all swing that way.
right. Yeah. That was the next point. You just hit on it. I was gonna ask you guys how you felt about the fact that even with the 0-0 no contest, Danger Zone still put up 16 points, which is more than some 5-match teams put up this week. Winning teams put up this week. Um, so what does the future for Danger Zone look like with these types of performances in I'm in yellow, so you guys can get pissed at this all you want. When you look at the overall makeup of black and yellow, is this good? How good of news is this, or is this 1 week put behind you? Synergy fell on their face, or is Danger Zone for real?
I don't know. Danger Zone has had. I think almost every season now they've come out strong and they faded super super hard down the stretch. And then I'm now wondering, like, part of me can't help but wonder, is this more of the same, where they come out strong again and then they don't finish? So it's I don't know, but their first 2 weeks are encouraging.
I will say this. I'm loving right now in chat. Folks, Grim and Gemini face off this week, and they are slinging some fucking mud in chat right now. Um, but we have Captain Grim now. Very enthusiastic, positive guy that's been around the league for a while now. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the league he hates, and that's probably warranted. So Danger Zone, excited to see what comes from you guys in the future weeks. Mange, what? I'm confused here. Am I reading this correct that the Bad Hombres beat a team?
Why are you confused? Fuck you.
um, it does come at the hands of, I believe the DQ swung it in your guys' favor. Am I incorrect in that?
You're not. That we won because of DQ, but we submit our classes and the other teams don't.
And that is that's a skill. If I'm looking for a player and they know what 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is, that's a skill. So Cassie does get the DQ victory in his favor. Mange gets swept by Enamor. Murdoch gets swept by the Simpsons. Brunson gets a 3-1 over Braxy, and Dr. McButt surprisingly loses. With a name like that, I can't imagine anything but success. To Rogue JT. Rogue, have you lost yet? Do you know what losing is?
No, he has not.
Teams 1600 Dustin and Harry Generals. So the Harry Generals were a team we all had super low. And we kind of hyped up 1600 Dust based on the same team they personnel-wise. That's what I'm looking for. Personnel-wise, they're the same team they were last season. Harry Generals beat them here. Did we underestimate the skill of the Harry Generals, or did we overestimate 1600 Dust, or is this 1 week, Jack Sox, you can't read shit into it?
I think it's both. I think that so 1600 Dust last season had a lot of success, and they also played in the weakest division that we had by far. And so I think maybe coming off of that success that they were a little bit overrated. And maybe the Harry Generals aren't as bad as everyone thought they were, because it turns out Mark Shire's still pretty good. Jedi is now 1-1, which is much better than he was. 500 record, much better than he was last season at this point. Bork is continuing his success off last season. So, yeah, I think they don't look quite as strong, but they're still okay. And I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not sure about 1600 Dust, if we're being completely honest here. Like last season, they had a great season, but like, could it have really just simply been a case of beginner's luck? Like, are they just figured out now? Like, I don't know. 2 weeks is a very small sample size. They could be evenly matched teams. The Harry Generals could be much better, but any way you split it, even two evenly matched teams, there's going to be a sweep in there in their distribution of matchups. So it's hard to tell this early, especially when you have a team with the track record the Harry Generals have had. Like, we were very possibly way too low on them in the beginning.
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I do agree with you. I think 1600 Dust is probably not as good as we think.
All right. See, I like that when these two intelligent people talk. I sit here and nod my head. Enjoy that. So, Aeon versus Temporal Legends. Temporal Legends comes out with the win, and truthfully, one of the questions I have about this is, what's the future looking like with Aeon with this constantly rotating roster? I don't know. I wasn't able to follow. I saw Detrucci looking for, I believe it was a 3 seed. It was about a week and a half ago. This might be completely old news, folks. Like I said, last week was a blur for me. Um, but what is the future looking like for Aon as far as their roster rotation? Do we have something permanently in place for them right now?
They had some PR issues, and they got them resolved. So their roster is now set. They're locked in, and they can play, the rest of the season.
So what we see, that's it. That's like as we're judging this the rest of the season, that's locked in. That's not a sub situation. That's permanent. This is
That's
their.
it.
This is it.
All right, so that's going to throw some people around. As I look at the spreadsheet, I was a little confused and trying to figure out that Follow Durton, did he play in bulk this week, or was PR adjusted and people shifted?
He was a sub.
Okay.
Yeah,
That played in 2 seed.
Okay.
Yeah, he played him.
And then, all right, so then, sorry guys, I know I'm figuring this out live on air, but then we got, all right, I see this week's with the correct stuff. Thank you. Thank you, D. Lyman and Mange, for correcting the guy that's supposed to know what the fuck's going on in this league. So Temporal Legends, they're off to an okay start. They're in a rough division. They're in that cotton candy pink blue is it's a rough road. And they're hanging in there so far. Could this be the Paladins of the present? Could they actually
Hey.
been living up to the hype?
I don't know. They scored 6 points in week 1, so I'm
Yeah.
not ready. I'm not ready to crown them. Good week,
Yeah.
though.
And the quality of their competition going forward is just tough, man. Like it's just really tough. Like Entropy and Supreme are starting to look like they might make a case for running away with blue. And Temporal Legends can definitely still get into the playoffs despite that, because it's only it's 3 teams coming out of the 4 teams coming out of the 2 divisions, but 3 could come from 1. But if the Hairy Generals keep up what they're doing, if 1600 Dust were to come back and start making a statement throughout the rest of the season, it could look really tough for the Temporal Legends.
Yeah, it's a very tough division. Speaking of Entropy, they put it on fucking Noob Central this week. If you look at the score, it might not appear that way, but you can't really put much value into the 4 points that came off the DQ. So if you look at matches actually played, Racy puts up 4, and the rest of the team only puts up 1, with Entropy pretty heavily winning all of the non-1 seed matchups. And let's be honest, getting swept by Racy is nothing to be super ashamed of. The guy's a stud and a phenomenal Hearthstone player. Concerns for Noob Central? Or, I mean, obviously D Lyman, it's your team. You're going to speak very highly of them. Or is Entropy, as D Lyman just suggested, turning into who we thought they were, Mange?
Yeah, no, Entropy is really good. Entropy is really, really good. I wouldn't feel bad about this at all if I'm NWA. You just, you pick yourself up by the bootstraps and you move on to next week.
And that's gonna have. There's been past teams that kind of you just try to hold on. I think of Team Rank 5 of their championship season. You just try to minimize the damage when you play them and focus on the folks you know you can get the points and the wins off of. So Noob Central turn around this week and see what happens there. But I'm really excited with the way things are going to see what would happen with Smoke Salmon back up in the 1 seed. He once upon a time sat in the 1 seed, didn't he? I want to say he was there for a little bit when he first came into the league. Then dropped to the 2 that he's been at home for a while with. He's a league vet that's only been improving as of late. And Phenom is still working with that learning curve. I believe we have some results on his week 3 that we could talk about when we get there. Kind of hype city. But Entropy's looking good. No, we don't? I'm making that up?
No, he won an SHL, that's it.
Oh, so those results I heard about were SHL. Gotcha. He won an SHL, so there's that to look forward to. Winning is contagious. If you get used to it and cultivate it as a way of life, hopefully it'll continue to happen. Supreme over Team Golden Wisp. Another DQ, ruining our ability to talk about it, but Slimsh gets 4 in his favor in the DQ. And then the rest of Supreme just puts in work. Lots of 5-game matches, though, which I do like to see. Guys, as you watch this one unfold, thoughts about it?
Well, Supreme got the wins exactly where you expect them to get them, and then they got 2 losses out of their 4 and 5 seeds. Now, again, like you alluded to, Jack Sox, the bright light here is that those losses were 3-2 losses. So they put up as many points as they could in their losses, while their top three carried them through to what was a pretty significant margin of victory.
Yeah, if that first that 1 seed game gets played, we might be singing a different tune here. Because even if Double O's gets a couple points off of Slimsh there, you know, or win, if he wins it, obviously they win the whole thing. If he gets a couple points, you're looking at a 2-point loss, which is the best you could do. It really would have been overall a good week for Team Golden Wisp, as good as a loss can be. So, guys, these DQs, come on, Thursday night, right now. If you're a captain in chat, you should be emailing your team to make sure they're submitting their classes. So that was going to be a question I asked, but we kind of already covered it. About the future of Danger Zone and Aeon. For those who don't know, Grim Gamer is now the captain of Danger Zone. Congrats, Grim. I know that's something that you aspired to for a while. Aeon, happy to hear you got your roster set. But these DQs, man. I don't know. What, as board members, you guys got any suggestions on how we could try to help cut these DQs down?
Yeah, submit your classes.
I mean, it's that simple.
Yes, it really is that simple.
Captain, set a reminder for your team, like an email blast or a Discord blast or whatever it is. I know that every Wednesday night in Explosive Sheep Chat, which for some reason Team Well Met has our own channel in Explosive Sheep Chat, Bitbeaker hits us all with the submit your shit, and then he'll bug us individually if we haven't. So, I mean, captains, it's just as much your responsibility to teach fledglings how to fly as it is their ability to know what 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is. All right, week 3. Some hype shit going on in week 3. We've got some good matchups. We've got some teams that really could use a win against, I don't want to use the term weaker opponent. I want to say a more favorable matchup for them. And to kick it off, I want to talk about Netherstorm versus Hearthstone Academy. These are two teams that can really use some points in week 3 as you look at the way these two divisions are built. It's kind of one of the most evenly matched matchups they're going to have this season between the two. How do you see this one playing out with the 400 PR 1 through 3 seeds, 2 seeds pushing around that 300 PR? I mean, from top to bottom, this one is close.
Well, Hearthstone Academy really needs this win, right? Like, they just need
Yeah.
it. You know, like last week, you know, they lost and didn't feel good about it. Oh no, last week they won. I'm thinking about week 1. No, yeah, we know week 1. Week 1 was when they won. Last week, Sage, their captain, didn't submit classes. They lost about it. They lost it, and they were super salty about it. So now they really need to come back and and make a statement before teams like Parallax or NWA start to pile on points and push through towards the end of the season, because Parallax isn't looking too bad now through 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, if you look right now, Hearthstone Academy in the live updates standing, so this is taking into account matches played already, week 3, folks. But Parallax is sitting only 3 points ahead of Hearthstone Academy in a yellow division that's pretty close, whereas Netherstorm is sitting 5 points back in 4th place in their division. If both teams could really use this as an opportunity to move forward. Mange, what are your takes on this matchup?
On the Parallax and Danger Zone?
No, the Hearthstone Academy and Netherstorm.
Sorry, my bad. I got lost.
Yeah, we were
track.
jumping around there.
So, yeah, no, D. Lyman said it right. They both really need wins. I'm really not a big fan of either team. I don't think either of them are super good, but I wish I had more. I wish I had more to input. I really don't. I don't know much about either.
Yeah, I mean, all the players on Hearthstone Academy they're all new to us. Like, we really just don't know how good they are.
It's really.
So it's really difficult to make any judgments about them even after 2 weeks of play.
Tell you what, here's something. me and myself and I, he talks a lot in Twitch chat, and he's now 2-0. So I'm kind of interested to see how he does against Twiz.
I would just like to also point out too, yeah, Twiz in the 3 seed position is fucking ridiculous for those that don't know this. Last week, Scritch got a good win over Gemini, who 3-0'd me week 1, which is not saying a whole lot, but it is information for folks out there. I did beat K2 in a very close matchup where I almost beat myself on game 1. If you haven't seen the VOD yet, or the clip of that, that's pretty hilarious. It's in Discord. So they have to feel good in that 5 seed matchup. Me, myself, and I up against Twiz. This is a good litmus test for how good is he? Because Twiz in the 3 seed is a stud. And then you got Crovan going up against Brewski, and that one interests me because I've got question marks about both guys. I don't know how much you can learn from having question marks about both players. But Crovan, for those who know, he's been in and out of the league. He's been a name that's been known. So it's going to be interesting to see how Brewski plays this out against him. And if this thing ends up being lopsided for one team, I think that's an even worse omen than usual for a bad beat, as this is a matchup both these teams really need to be scoring points in.
Interesting to note that both Brewski and JB both brought Hunter last week, and neither of them have brought Hunter this week. So,
yeah, that's probably a good decision. You got the Harry Generals going up against Noob Central. The Noobs had a rough week last week going up against Entropy, as we talked about. And the Harry Generals performed above where we really expected them to be. But I was looking at this one. I always try to do like a pick 'em to see which matchups I think would be the most interesting, and the ones I really struggle to figure out who's the favored player in each matchup. This one to me is extremely interesting. As you look seed by seed, theoretically, in THL history, these players are pretty evenly matched. Is even as lopsided as a lot of folks would like to think the Ray C Markshire matchup is. Every time we keep thinking Markshire is going to lose that 500 PR, he stays at 500 PR. I'd love to get your guys' takes. If you see any advantages I missed, or if there's a matchup that you're particularly excited about in the Harry Generals versus Noob Central.
Well, I'll tell you what. I played against both Bork and Josh Sampson this season because I'm going through the gauntlet of players that is the 4 seed, and and I'll tell you what, they're both just about as good as each other. So I'm interested to see how that one shapes up.
Jedi Ninja and Cutthroat, obviously, Jedi started the league. Cutthroat's been here since forever. I don't even know when his first season was, but yeah. So, they've both been around for a while. I don't know if they've had a chance to play each other yet, but I want to see that one for sure.
Yeah, the thing I also find out to be interesting about that Jedi Cutthroat is these are two guys that have had past success. I feel like they're Tiger Woods post back surgery. They're trying to find their swing again. And I think this is just a really cool matchup in multiple ways. This Thor Smash Chigmo thing really interests me too. Both of the players in my internal rating for like how are you as a 2 seed, I put them kind of on the same tier as 2 seeds go. I think this is much like D Lyman alluded to with Bork and Josh Sampson. I think you have two players of the same quality that are going to kind of play about the same level going at it, and there's a lot of coin flips in here, man. I would think that the Harry Generals are favored in the Jedi Cutthroat matchup, but then Jedi likes to bring well, he didn't bring Paladin this week, guys.
Jedi has informed us that he's learned his lesson when it comes to conquest.
Ooh,
Yep.
Oh,
He's off for blood now.
So I would feel pretty good about that then. He didn't bring Paladin. But Noob Central has to be feeling good about the 1 seed matchup. And I would even argue, as much as I like to field the Gurn, Ham is a stud down there for Noob Central. Has been doing a good job of making sure that winning records are a thing. And I think the Noobs have to feel good in the 1 1 and 5, but I think everything in the middle is just fucking fantastic television.
Yeah, I think Nuke Central is like trying to take this next step, right, to be one of the best teams instead of just being one of the good ones that sometimes makes playoffs.
Right.
And like you kind of need to beat a team like the Hay Generals to get there. It's fairly close, but you should beat them if you're Nuke Central.
So the next matchup I was looking at, and I have so many fucking question marks about 1600 Dust versus Temporal Legends. This is another one that on paper, I was like, man, this is gonna be fucking great. There's one blaring like deficit in the 2 seed, but I'm still thinking this is 1600 Dust from last season, and we already touched on that. But is this Temporal Legends 1600 Dust matchup as exciting as I think it is?
Bold prediction:
Bold.
Temporal Legend scores at least 16 points against Team 1600 Dust.
Yep, I was just thinking the same thing. They're about to get in that ass.
Yeah.
You know what? That just reminded me that we didn't start this season, Mage. We didn't do the pick'em this season.
Well, why not? Let's start this week or next.
We could just pick 3 matchups this week, and at the end we'll say fuck it, and we'll pick. I'd like to do that again. I had fun. I fucking sucked last season. I'm out to prove I know what I'm talking about at THL.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's do it right now.
So when we get done with week 3, we'll pick 3 matchups, and then we'll all give our picks on it.
All right.
So 16 points against 1600 Dust. I would love to disagree with you guys, but I think it could happen. By the way, there's we'll be able to watch a little bit of that one on the Salty Saturday. I'll tell you which matchup we get to see. I know Slim's just been spamming in the chat, but for those who are playing games and only have the audio on, we'll tell you we get to see some games from there. Parallax versus Danger Zone. This one is really great. 2 teams sitting on top of their divisions, black and yellow, respectively. And the question that you can get into whatever matchups you want, but the real question I want answered is when you look at the rest of these divisions, who is it more important to make sure that they distance themselves from the rest of the pack? Is it more important for Danger Zone to put that distance between them and number 2, or is it more important for Parallax when you look at who could potentially sneak up on them as the season rolls on?
I think it's more important for Danger Zone.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. And I think it's because Defiance Brotherhood has the personnel to just take over this division. But Danger Zone can pull away, then it makes it much more likely that they end up making the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We talked about on Power Rankings a little bit that we thought Defiance Brotherhood would run away with Black. They haven't done so yet, so this is Danger Zone's chance to establish themselves on equal footing by the end of the season, like points-wise. Versus like Parallax, I think that they're probably the best team in their division. It's not a very good division, and they could kind of scare by being this just slightly above average team and end up making playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree there. When you look at the overall makeup of yellow versus or gold or whatever we're actually calling it, Danger Zone has already faced their hardest in conference opponent, facing Defias in week 1. And you got a few question marks around teams like Netherstorm and Avatar. Avatar hasn't been doing bad. They got G-Nets in the 1 seed due to Stud. One of the first things that Jody said when he got done playing was, I have not been that nervous in a while to play a 1 seed in THL. So G-Nets, he obviously thinks highly of you. Hot Asian girl, for those who don't know who Jody is. But you look over at that gold side or yellow, and Danger Zone could score a lot of points. Really the only team that we've had high hopes for, and we're not even sure if they're really warranted, was NWA over there. Parallax has performed better than expected, but they've gone up against Team Well Met, my own team, we're struggling to figure out who we are right now. We're starting to kind of hit the rhythm. Last week, those of us who didn't perform well week 1 did all right, and those who didn't perform well week 2 had their success week 1. We're trying to figure all that out. In Hearthstone Academy, so like Parallax, they have their test this week in Danger Zone and figuring out who they really are. But if they could score as many points as possible off of yellow, this might turn into watching Noob Central and Team Rank 5 of Orange farming off of green. That's a capability Defias has this season. So every point Danger Zone could separate themselves by taking it from yellow, I think has to count. More so than Parallax getting over anybody in yellow. Rambling there, but overall point, folks, is that I think I agree with D-Lime and Mange that Danger Zone has to put themselves as far ahead as they can so that when Defias hits their stride, they've already got a big enough lead. All right. Is any matchups I missed? I didn't know if you guys wanted to touch on your individual team matchups at all, because you two are squaring off this week.
No,
Not really.
no. I mean, it's a bye week.
Yeah, bye week.
Shout out. I was gonna do this at the end, and I might do it again. I want to give a shout out to D Lyman and Brunson for being absolute fucking studs. I believe that you guys got that match done as soon as is legally possible in the league.
3 o'clock hit, and we sure did get in there.
That's awesome. So shout out to you guys for submitting your classes on time, contacting your opponents early in the week, and getting your matches played. Also, Brunson, great lineup. Jesus Christ. I'm looking at the Battle Hombres brings this week, guys. All 4 members who have submitted classes have brought Druid and Hunter, and 3 out of the 4 that submitted classes brought Paladin. You guys are fucking fantastic. All right, so I said we do it, so let's do it. Do you want to just say from the list that we have, we'll just do 4 teams this week, because fuck it. D Lyman, me, Jax. All right. So matchup number 1, we'll go from D Lyman down to me, and then we'll go from me back. So we'll rotate so that you don't always have to pick first.
All right.
So who you got?
For Netherstorm versus Hearthstone Academy?
Yep.
I'll take Hearthstone Academy. No, wait, no, there's already a result, and I'll take Netherstorm. That's easy.
Mange?
Thanks, K2.
Nether?
Hey, I don't see a result.
Weak?
Where's the result?
K2 beat Scritch.
Oh,
Wait. When did that happen?
when is this?
That must have happened as the show, because I just refreshed. It wasn't there. I refreshed, and it just came up. Oh, man.
K2's saving my ass.
I'm gonna jump the line. I'm also gonna go with Nether because I think that they've got 2 other favorite matchups, and all you need to do is win 3 technically.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go another storm because their first player won the match. So.
Yep.
Well, and that's one of the ones that I would pick them to lose that one. So.
That's just math.
Yeah. Man.
Moving on to who's next? I forgot who we talked about next. The Harry Generals versus Noob Central.
Yeah.
I will go first this one, and I am going to go with. I'm going to go with the Harry Generals.
I think that Noob Central is better, and I think that they're going to win.
I am also going to go Noob Central.
I figured you 2 would.
I think Racy, Ham, and Cutthroat are going to get in there, and that'll be it.
Even though in my analysis I pointed those things out, I'm still going with the Harry Generals because I believe. All right, D-Lime. Actually, let's start with Mange on this one. Mange, Temporal Legends, 1600 Dust.
Oh, Temporal Legends all day.
Legends. That one's going to be a sweep for the Legends. D-Lime, just confirming that was you also picking Legends?
Yes.
All right. Final matchup that we're going to do in the Pick'em. Parallax versus Danger Zone.
I'm going to go Parallax.
Mange?
Oh boy. I believe in Captain Grimm. Give me some danger zone.
Wow.
Yep, I believe that Grimm's going to win his match, and I think that's going to be the only match they win.
I'm also going to have to go with Parallax on this one. I actually agree with D Lyman. I think Grim picks up the win, the 5, and maybe Jing, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Jing too. But the top 3, I think I'll go Parallax.
Wow, I'm so glad we're doing pick'em. I love looking at the season totals for this and seeing how much
I
shit I don't know.
I feel really strong about danger zone here. Actually, I think you guys are pretty wrong.
Oh boy.
I can't wait for next week to just be thrown into somebody's face one way or the other. Fantastic. Oh baby. So we got some actual good Q&As this week, and I would like to thank once again the community for that. And we're gonna start off with one that I think is super productive for captains out there, and also I want to add something that's not in the document here for free agents. So Cassidy asked, if you are a captain tasked with rebuilding a team mid-season after losing 2 members, what would the outline for your action plan look like?
Yeah. So assuming that you had holes to fill in the off season, you probably had already emailed and interviewed several free agents. So like you start there, right? You figure out which of those guys you like best, figure out how they fit PR wise, and then you go straight to that Hearthstone directory. And you know it's at this point it's a math problem. You figure out how much PR you have left, and you try to find you email a couple of the guys that fit that range, and you do what you can in a very short week. It's a shitty situation, but it's not impossible. And your attitude and how well you handle it will mean a lot to the rest of your team. So
Yeah, and when you reach out to people, you could easily like just tell them straight up, like this is a 1 week thing until we find a permanent solution. You could be a permanent solution. You might be the permanent solution, but it's temporary for right now. And if they understand that, they're basically a sub for that week, and then you just keep fishing in the meantime.
Yeah, and I also don't like you gotta be directly messaging and corresponding with these individuals. As a post on the forum is not gonna be enough because not every player that's in the league is on the Facebook group. So really, everybody has to participate in the league, submit an email that hopefully if they've registered for the league, they're willing to check. So I would directly be messaging these folks and don't expect, generalized shout outs to work.
yeah. In fact, like we see that super often. We see like this post like, "Hey, I need this PR range," but there are lots of posts on the Facebook every day, and so if you're just solely relying on that, you have to hope that someone sees it, and you have to hope that they're the PR that you need, and then you have to hope that they're the right fit. It's just like I don't have a problem with Facebook posts, but you'll get so much more done by directly messaging them.
Now, there's a cool follow up question to that. Smoke Salmon put this out there. Um, as all of us on the board, or not on the board, all of us on Tavern Talk here, um, have been captains or former captains or however or whatever, however you want to call it. What advice would we give to Grim on how to adjust to his new role? I want to start with D Lyman because Boom Squad was one of the most successful teams in THL history.
Damn
Um,
right.
so D Lyman, what advice would you give to the Grim Gamer on his new role as captain?
Um, just encourage the heart, man. I mean, that's the big thing is that if you're going to be leading this team of people, I understand that like now your team is, it's going through some shit, So it's up to you now to make sure that um, that the players are willing to move forward and do the best that they can going through the rest of the season and um, not get too down on themselves because of the hardship that's facing them.
I like that. Mange?
Yeah, no, that I was actually gonna say something similar. I think that in the past we have seen captains react to adversity negatively, and it's resulted in the whole team morale just plummeting and thinking they didn't have a chance. And that doesn't need to be the case, especially Danger Zone, who has positioned themselves really well in the standings after 2 weeks. It sucks, but it's not impossible. In fact, like, you get the right guys, you have the right attitude, they can win their division. Like, they very well can win their division. So be positive, stay upbeat, and your team will follow suit.
And Grim, I would say, play your strengths, man. Don't try to be something you're not. Be you. Don't be the person you think you're supposed to be. And don't be afraid as a captain to also rely on the strengths of your teammates. I was a 5 seed captain, and sometimes that meant taking the back seat in certain situations to allow a more experienced Hearthstone player to guide the team. And I don't mean doing all the captaining duties, but sometimes part of being a leader is knowing when to follow. Um, and be you, man. You're energetic. You're enthusiastic. Don't think that you gotta be all serious and different now, man. Moving on down. I'm paraphrasing Inbulk here. He worded it much better and he went to much more detail. But Inbulk asked if you could change a few neutral or class cards, what would they be and why? And this question was in response to the Evergreen set. So I'm going to say that again. If you could change a few neutral cards or class cards, what would they be and why? And yeah, I had an answer for this. I forgot what it was. Oh, okay, I remember now. Who wants to kick it off? D Lyman, you already had something written down.
For this one, I had.
Oh no, never mind. That's for the next question. You're right.
My goddamn head, Jack sucks.
What's that? So who's ready to start it? I mean, I could start it, but my card's pretty shit.
I'll start it.
All right.
Every deck right now, almost every single deck, in the 5-mana slot plays Hazard Drake. And I think it'd be okay if that one went away. Another 5-mana cost cards got to see some play. I don't know. I don't have any on class cards really.
Yeah, I mean, man, see, this is a tough one, right? Because a lot of these class cards are what tend you to the identity of some of these classes, what these classes are meant to do, and as a result, they end up being in a lot of those decks. And that just makes theoretical sense for how they structured the classes. So it's tough to say from a class card standpoint, but from a neutral card standpoint, yeah, there are some cards that. Like if a neutral card is in a ton of decks, then maybe there's something about that neutral card that needs to be addressed. It may not be that the card is overpowered, but if you want the game to feel different, if that's one of the goals of the Hearthstone developers, then it may be the case that you don't want those cards to be evergreen anymore. And even effects that are really simple, like cards like Sylvanas come to mind. Do I think that one should be evergreen anymore? I'm not entirely sure, but that's a card that you see in every single control deck, every single one. So it's a relevant one to consider.
Yeah.
So I was thinking along the lines of Asher Drake, and I was trying to find something different to say there. So I'm going to take it in a different direction. This is not at all the question I asked you too, but and I don't even think a card like this exists yet, but I think back to the days of, there was talk for a brief second before Ben Brode came out and confirmed that Reno would not be evergreen, right? That I'm not making that up, that he did come out and say that. Because they're talking about taking cards from certain sets that were prominent and making them permanent.
Oh.
So here's my wish. I'm gonna call it a wish list on neutral card, and it's something to the effects of what was it, Nerubian Web Spinner or whatever it was. Essentially, I need a card that's gonna have a Lotheb-like effect on Battle Cry minions. So when things like a Reno are introduced, or a Kazakis, and I know it's coming, how do I stop a battle cry from happening? Because even if you play things like that new mage secret with the polymorph, their effect still goes off before it becomes polymorphed. Um,
Hmm.
so I would like to see something in the Evergreen set that would account for battle cry in the same way that Lotheb used to counter combos and things of that nature, or if you knew they were trying to get off a big Antonitis turn. Um, I just need that type of a card, and I need it to be always available to me. I know that's
Right.
not
Yeah.
what
I
the
think,
question asked.
right. I mean, I think you're thinking like Narrowbar Weblord.
Yeah,
Was the one that made the battle cry minions cost more. I think it's an interesting concept. I think that manipulating cards that are going to be played in future turns to that extent is something that's definitely like relatively unprecedented in trading card games in general. When you're talking about like minion effects, like not being able to play those minions or those battle cries not triggering at all. But Hearthstone's a pretty special game in that all of these things can be pursued, so it could be interesting.
yeah. It doesn't have to be a permanent. Like Lotheb was for this next. I'm delaying you one turn, right? So it's not to fully negate these things, but to just give us an option. Because right now I feel that there's no option other than beneath the grounds, and fuck that. I'm not trying to hear that right now. All right, so moving on to other great questions. Um, Salmon added to this. Smoked Salmon killed the Q&A this week, guys. Um, are there any wild cards you think should come back, especially for Hunter or Pally to make them viable again? D Lyman, I liked yours. Why don't you share it for the folks?
Fucking old Murkai. I'm so pissed. I'm still fucking bothered by the fact that I can't play anything Paladin and have it be a tier one deck just because they want to fucking like say, fuck this game. I crafted 2 gold and anything can happen, and I can't even fucking play the card now because the deck is weak as fuck, and it's because I took out old Murkai. You know, man. It's in all fairness. If anything Paladin had old Murkai, it would be the number one deck in the meta right now. It's not even close.
Probably.
It's not even fucking close.
Mange?
I definitely don't think that any of these cards should come back. But if like you wanted to do something short term to make like Paladin viable, yeah, Murkai's a good choice. You could put Avenge in the deck right now, and Secret Paladin would be okay.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
gonna be mine. You just stole mine, you jerk.
Hunter, if they had Glaive Zuka or Mad Scientist, they'd be okay. But I don't think that those cards should come back. They're wild for a reason. Print new cards.
I
Now,
think unstable portals will still be removed from the game, like it shouldn't even be in wild.
fully removed. What about this? Because here's my thoughts on this. Right? What if they brought a card like Mad Scientist back, but they try to balance it by, instead of being on the 2 drop, it's a 3 drop now.
So like now I have a different proposal.
Okay.
What if Mad Scientist were a legendary?
A one of. Huh.
Yeah, I mean it's so super strong. Obviously less consistent because you can only play half as many. Yeah, sure. But I still prefer like those cards stay in wild and to make new cards.
Yeah, I think the problem. I was gonna say Avenge because what was the most mid range Paladin had its moment in the sun, um, but Secret Paladin was one of the most successful archetypes in the history of the game so far, right? Like we've seen aggro shamans rivaling it. Um,
Uh,
you know,
yeah,
it's so like, but the secrets they're currently printing for Paladin just they're fucking garbage. Um, like I don't think they've introduced anything new that excites me. It the idea of being able to, even if it's not as big of a buff as Avenge was, um, it it helped. That extra little buff was needed, and when you take that away, like Mage was saying, if you put that back in, Secret Paladin becomes viable again. It was that important of a card that it almost single-handedly crushed it. I know I've seen a few folks out there trying to build the Secret Paladin deck, but nobody's really been able to make a super successful archetype or list for it since getting rid of Avenge.
Well, the Avenge, like, it had the most, it allowed for the most synergy among the secrets, because, like, you would trigger Noble Sack, and then that would trigger Avenge,
Right.
and then that would trigger Redemption, so it was like that bridge.
It was a 5/4 for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Arcane THL asked the question: if you had to pick a player in any seed that's performing higher than expected, who would you choose?
Oh, where's this copy pasta?
Seriously.
Um,
That's okay. We just won't say his name.
Well,
Oh.
he wouldn't have been my pick anyways, because my pick, and I'm going to start this one off, and these guys can confirm it was in the document. I thought about it, and I had to go with my boy Grimm. He's had some rough seasons. He's had some seasons where like he's pleading in the Facebook group for anyone to teach him anything about the game. And he's off to a 2-0 start. And they're both close matchups. The opponents got some points off of them, but I think those close matchup wins say a lot about a player. How you deal with the pressure. Was it a potential reverse sweep situation? Like those are clutch situations when you come through in those. And as of like the past season and a half, Grimm's like been a question mark for me. So to see him off to a 2-0 start, he's performing way better than I expected him to.
Man, so I think that Grimm's a bad choice for this because I definitely expected this.
Right?
I expected it to be good from the start.
So you get your own choice.
My pick would be Force of Will.
Yeah, Force of Will has been having a hell of a season.
Because I can't think of a single person who isn't on Force of Will's team who thought that he was going to be good, including myself.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That is a good one. It's a great one.
Especially the win over Jesus is one of those wins.
Yeah, I was really impressed by that one in particular. I'm gonna go ahead and give shout outs to both Drubik's Cube and Sunshine, Team Golden List 4 and 5 seeds. Last season they were 2 and 5 on the season, 2 wins, and this season they're both 2-0. So they already have as many wins as last season, and they're both playing pretty good Hearthstone from what I hear. So that's super cool to see.
Honorable mention though for this one, Brunson got a match win, and that was better than anyone expected.
Oh man.
Not wrong.
So quality Q&A this week, guys. Thank you for that. There's a few others in there, but honestly, they just didn't make the cut. I didn't want to be on here for an hour and a half. We're almost over time anyways, in my opinion. So I gave a shout out to Brunson D. Lyman already. If you guys did not know, there is captains. There is a player tab on the website. I'm not trying to be condescending here. I know there's a new captains meeting and all, but on the website, if you're looking for a sub or a free agent, you go to Season 5, you go to Players, you click on it, you enter our password, which is the season name, and it will tell you every registered player for Season 5, their PR, their email address, and whether they are or are not signed to a team. Sorry, I just got somebody popping up on Skype trying to ruin everything for us. So, Captain, just be aware that's there if you need free agents, and don't do just the Facebook blast. You could do it if you want. Great, fantastic. But if you actually want a sub, go to this player page. That's it, man. I guess that's all we had for tonight. Oh, Salty Saturday lineup. Salty Saturday. In no particular order, although I'm pretty sure Slim spammed somewhere in chat an actual order. so he'll probably spam it again, hopefully in chat. But we have Grim versus Gemini. If you were not here earlier, they were talking some smack up in that chat. Ridiculous Hat versus Hector Hal from that Temporal Legends in 1600 Dust matchup we hyped up so much. And Sage against former Boom Squad member Swanky Tiger.
Wait, really?
So that's going to be taking place Saturday, guys. Some hype stuff to look forward to there. So I will be hanging out with you guys in chat. It might be from a remote location, and my phone might be dying. But I'm excited for Salty Saturday. It's been a pretty good Salty Saturday so far. I really like our new broadcast team. You guys are doing a great job over there. Slimch and C. Parker and JB question mark?
I love how generous these timestamps are on these matches. Like 8:50 is Grim versus Gemini, but then 9:45 is Ridiculous Head versus Hector Howe. When you fucking know that match is going to be ready to start at 9:15.
Yeah.
Like Grim is going to get the fuck in there.
Get in there, Grim. All right, guys. Yes, JB. Cool. So let's get to the parting thoughts because I've got some League of Legends to play. Because that's how I prepare for Hearthstone matches now because Hearthstone tilts me. Mr. D. Lyman, any parting thoughts for the folks at home?
I mean, we'd be remiss to not mention the fact that there's been a lot of shit going down the past couple of days. Like that's an elephant in the room here for sure. I mean, there's really not much else that I have to say about it that hasn't already been said, and I don't want to just like embellish on points that have already been made. Even though I have like a controlling forum in order to do it, but as far as the concerns that people have shared regarding everything that's been going down, like it's not going unheard. That's really all I really want to say.
All right, Mange.
I ain't talking about chicken and gravy, biatch.
Biatch, indeed. Folks, I intentionally wanted to avoid the tension to have a great night tonight. We did have 2 board members here, and guys, I really appreciate the fun, enthusiastic environment as we did a solid show tonight. And D. Lyman and Mange, I would like to personally thank you for all the time and attention you give this community, making sure that you're doing the best job you can and our voices are heard. So I just want to personally thank you guys for taking the time. As a former board member, I know how much work it can be. So on behalf of me and the Tavern Talk crew, aka yourselves, thank you. Guys, we'll be here same bat time, same bat channel next week with hopefully a guest. So if you're interested in being that guest, get at me over the week so we could actually have stuff to talk about. Until then, bye.